I'm going to show you exactly how I use your own dreams to build a cage you'll never want to leave. That pit in your stomach isn't anxiety. It's your body's survival instinct screaming that the man you love is a predator in a tailor-made mask. By the end of this video, you'll realize that the beautiful future I've been promising you is a lie designed to steal your present before you lose everything. Most people would see a partner in need, the person they supposedly love and cherish above all others, the one they promise to protect, honor, and cherish until the very final breath of their days, and reach out a hand to lighten the load, but I just leaned against the doorframe, feeling the cool, indifferent wood against my shoulder, and checked my watch with a deliberate, slow, and calculated movement that I knew she would notice. I felt a profound, soul-crushing sense of boredom that bordered on physical nausea. Every time she looked up at me with those pleading, exhausted eyes for help, I made sure to look just past her, as if she were a minor inconvenience or a piece of scenery in the grand theater of my mind. I did not help her because, in my mind, I had already given her more than enough by simply deigning to exist in her presence and allowing her to be a secondary character in my grand design. I had already promised her a mansion on the rugged, sun-drenched coast of Tuscany by next summer, a place where the morning sunlight would hit the ancient honey-colored stone just right, and the air would smell of salt, blooming jasmine, and impossibly expensive vintage bottles. I could see the dust motes dancing in the stagnant, humid air of our current apartment, a stark contrast to the golden, filtered visions I fed her daily like a powerful, addictive substance that keeps the mind comfortably numb. Why should I care about a little heavy lifting in a cramped two-bedroom apartment today when I'm handing her the entire world tomorrow? I watched her wipe sweat and grit from her forehead with a trembling sleeve, leaving a long streak of gray across her skin, and I felt nothing but a cold, soaring sense of superiority. To me, her physical struggle was a sign of her commonness, a mark of her being anchored to the mundane in the physical world, while my vision was a sign of my greatness and my transcendence. I let her lift the heaviest trunk alone, savoring the power of my own stillness and the absolute control I held over her hope. I knew that as long as she believed in the villa, she would carry any box I asked her to without a single word of complaint or a moment of rebellion. I enjoyed the way her muscles strained because it proved how much she was willing to sacrifice for the lie I had crafted so perfectly. I watched her struggle for 20 minutes, silent and unmoving, because I wanted her to feel the weight of her reality compared to the lightness of my promise. I wanted her to know, without me saying a word, that her labor was the price of admission to my world. I wanted her to understand that her current suffering was merely a small down payment on the life of luxury I had promised her, even though I knew that life was nothing but a mirage. I told her that by this time next year, we would have an entire staff of dedicated, silent people to carry her bags, professional servants whose only job would be to ensure she never had to lift a finger again for the rest of her life. I described the marble floors of the foyer, the exact shade of turquoise of the Mediterranean from our bedroom balcony, and the way the local villagers would look up to us with envy and awe until she could almost taste the sea air and the intoxicating fragrance of freedom. I went into detail about the gardens we would plant, the parties we would host, and the way our names would be spoken in hushed, respectful tones by the social elite. I watched the tension leave her shoulders, the way her spine straightened just a fraction as she chose to believe the glittering, hollow lie instead of acknowledging the dull, throbbing, undeniable ache in her own back. That is the hook I use to keep you tethered to me. I exploit your deepest, most private insecurities, your fear of being ordinary, your terror of being left behind, your secret nagging doubt that you are enough on your own, and I use your brightest dreams to build a cage you won't even try to escape. I am the architect of a psychological Ponzi scheme of the highest order. I demand your absolute servitude, your unwavering devotion, and your financial resources in the present moment while I pay you back in the currency of a future that I know, deep down in my hollow chest, will never exist. I saw her eyes go soft and misty the moment I mentioned Italy, and I knew in that instant I had bought myself another 3 months of her silence and her subjugation. She would not ask about the rent I had not paid. She would not ask why the joint savings account was empty, and she would not notice that I had been harming her reputation behind her back for months, whispering to her own family and friends that she was becoming unstable, paranoid, and increasingly difficult to manage. I was poisoning the well while she was busy dreaming of the fountain. I made sure that if she ever tried to leave, no one would believe her story over mine, because I had already painted her as the villain in every living room we visited. If I can keep you looking at the horizon, staring at the beautiful fake sunset I have painted for you, you will never notice that the floorboards are rotting and the walls are closing beneath your feet. I want you focused on the dream so you don't realize you are living in a nightmare of my making. I want your hope to be your handcuffs. Every time you think about leaving, I will just paint the sunset a little brighter, promise you an even bigger villa, and tell you that we are so close to the finish line that it would be a tragedy to quit. Now, I am a master of harnessing hope and weaponizing it against the hopeful. I do not just lie. I find that one private, sacred ache you carry in your chest, the fear of being alone, the hunger for a legacy, the desperate need to feel like you finally belong somewhere important. And I mirror it back to you with such surgical precision that you think I am the only person on earth who truly sees you. I study your reactions, I listen to your stories about your childhood, and I find the gaps in your soul so I can fill them with my false light. I use your own values to enslave you. It is a brilliant, calculated distraction from my lack of character and my internal emptiness. It is a way to ensure that while I'm out living my life exactly how I want, indulging every dark whim and harming anyone who gets in my way, you are at home, patiently waiting for a promised land that is always just one more month away, just one more deal away, just one more personality change away. I make you feel like we are an elite team, a power couple, standing tall against a jealous and mediocre world, while I am secretly dismantling your support systems one by one. I isolate you with grand visions, making your friends and family seem small, petty, and unsupportive compared to the empire I claim we are building together. I tell you they are just jealous of our future, and you believe me because you want the dream to be real more than you want to see the truth. I become your entire world, your only source of validation, and once I have that, I can treat you however I please, because where else would you go? You have already invested everything, your time, your youth, your money, and your soul, into my beautiful lie. You are a prisoner of your own aspirations, and I am the one holding the keys to the cell, making you thank me for the privilege of being there. I watch you defend me to the people who actually love you, and I smile, knowing my control is absolute. I feed you just enough hope to keep you from running, but never enough to make you feel secure. I will keep you in a state of perpetual hunger, making you believe that I am the only one who can eventually feed you. But maintaining this mask is an exhausting, relentless, and soul-thinning labor, and there are days when the reality of my own insignificance hits me like a physical blow to the stomach. Last week, when that project manager stood up in front of the entire board, people I had spent months trying to impress with my false brilliance and stolen ideas, and called my work a fraud, a sham, and a complete waste of company resources, I felt a nuclear explosion inside my chest. It felt like my entire world was ending in a flash of blinding, shameful white light. It was not just anger. It was a total collapse of the self, a state of mortification where the false self I have spent my entire life building was stripped away in public, and I felt like I was ceasing to exist in real time. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird, and the room began to spin until the floor felt like water and the air felt like lead. I could feel the cold sweat on my palms as I looked at their judgmental, mocking faces. I walked home in a daze, a disoriented, hollow shell of a man, feeling the eyes of every stranger on the street judging the vacuum where my soul should be. When I walked through the door, she tried to offer me comfort, her face twisted with a genuine, agonizing concern that nauseated me. She saw me in that broken zombie state, and instead of feeling grateful for her kindness, I felt a surge of pure, unadulterated loathing. Her pity felt like a cold blade being twisted between my ribs, reminding me that I am small, vulnerable, and human. I needed to obliterate the witness of my weakness, because as long as she remembered me looking like that, I was no longer in control of the narrative. Every soft word she spoke was a reminder of my failure, a mirror, reflecting back a man I refused to be. I had to make her pay for seeing the man behind the curtain, for seeing the coward I truly am. I had to punish her for being there when I was exposed, for seeing the cracks in the stone. I had to make her feel so much pain that she would forget the sight of my shame. I looked at her and felt the sudden, violent, and overwhelming need to extinguish her spirit just so she could never tell anyone she saw me crumble. I started the breadcrumbing then, a strategic, icy, and systematic withdrawal of my presence. For days, I gave her just enough silence to make her feel like she was fading away into the wallpaper, like she was becoming invisible in her own home. I walked past her as if she were a piece of discarded furniture, refusing to acknowledge her questions, her touch, her scent, or her tears. I made the air in the room so heavy and toxic she could barely breathe. I let her starve for a single kind word until she was begging for crumbs, apologizing for things she didn't even do just to get me to look at her for 1 second. I wanted her to feel as small, insignificant, and worthless as I felt in that boardroom. I wanted her to doubt her own reality until she felt she was going mad from the isolation. I wanted her to believe that my silence was her fault, a direct consequence of her failing to be the perfect partner I required. And then, right when I saw her spirit start to break and she was finally ready to leave, I threw her a single, tiny, worthless compliment. I told her the dinner she made was acceptable. I watched her sob with relief so pathetic it made me want to gag with contempt. She is addicted to the rush of my rare, strategic kindness, and she does not realize that she is an inverted narcissist, someone who finds her only sense of worth in the chaos I create. She takes pride in how much she can endure for me, thinking her suffering is a badge of honor and a testament to her love, never realizing she's just a utility, a tool I use to buffer myself against a world that does not realize how grand I truly am. She manages my moods, cleans up my legal and emotional messes, and provides a secondary supply by telling me how brilliant I am, even when I'm at my lowest point of failure. She's the mirror I use to see a version of myself that doesn't actually exist, and I will use her until there's absolutely nothing left of her identity, until she is just a ghost of the person she used to be. I will leave her hollowed out, a shell of a woman who no longer remembers her own name, and when she's finally empty, I will discard her for a fresh soul. He thinks he has won, does he not? He truly believes that because he can pull the strings of your heart like a puppet master. He is invincible and beyond reproach. But there's one thing that terrifies a narcissist more than passing away, more than public shame or even total isolation, and that is the moment you stop looking at the horizon. He Paint it for you and start looking at the cold, hard, and ticking reality of the clock. This entire cycle of future faking is designed to keep you in a state of perpetual agonizing waiting, but the solution is to become ruthlessly, unapologetically present. You have to learn to ignore every single word that comes out of his mouth regarding next month, next year, or your beautiful distant retirement together. You must judge the relationship strictly and exclusively on what is happening right this second in the room you are currently sitting in. If he is promising you a business empire that will change the world but refuses to help you with the dishes, treats you with contempt, or refuses to pay his share of the bills today, the empire is a ghost. It is a vapor. It is a fairy tale told by a villain to keep the victim quiet, hopeful, and productive for his benefit. Do not write checks on funds that have not cleared, and do not let your precious dreams be held hostage by someone who only uses them as a cage to keep you small, compliant, and easy to control. Look at the patterns of the last 6 months, not the promises of the next 6 years. A man who loves you builds with you in the dirt of the present. He doesn't just sell you a palace in the clouds while you drown in the mud. He is trading your actual life for a fantasy he has no intention of fulfilling. He is stealing your time, and time is the only thing you can never get back. He is a thief of years, and he expects you to thank him for the privilege of being robbed. He's selling you a map to a place that doesn't exist, and every step you take on his path is a step away from your own life. If you find yourself living under that heavy, suffocating dark cloud of a partner who uses their own misery, sullenness, and weaponized victimhood to control every room they walk into, you must practice emotional firewalling. You must stop asking what is wrong, and you must stop trying to fix their mood. Their unhappiness is a trap designed to make you responsible for their internal void, a void that you can never, ever fill, no matter how much of yourself you sacrifice to it. They want you to drown with them so they don't feel alone in their darkness. When they choose to be sullen and silent, you must choose to be at peace and carry on with your life as if their mood has no power over your joy. You must become unshakable and emotionally independent. You must realize that you are not a mood regulator for an adult who refuses to grow up and take responsibility for their own feelings. Your happiness is not a threat to them unless you allow it to be a tool for their guilt. And if you ever see that mask slip completely, that terrifying, hollow, and vacant look in their eyes when they have been exposed and the reality of their failure is undeniable, you need to get out immediately. That state of mortification is the most dangerous time for you because a narcissist in collapse will do anything to regain a sense of power, including destroying your life, your reputation, your finances, and your sanity just to save their own fragile ego. They are capable of extreme, scorched earth tactics when they feel they have nothing left to lose. They would rather see you ruined than see you move on as a witness to their ultimate shame. They will try to rewrite history, and they will make you the villain in every story they tell to justify their harmful and predatory actions. They will burn the world down just to feel like they are still the king of the ashes, and they will make sure you are in the center of the fire to distract from their own inadequacy. Reclaim your autonomy with every fiber of your being. Start a secret account if you have to, reconnect with the friends he made you abandon, and begin to build your own future without waiting for his permission, his approval, or his participation. You must learn to trust your own eyes and your own instincts again, the ones he worked so hard to silence and discredit. You are not a utility to be used and discarded. You are a person who deserves a full, nourishing meal of respect and love, not just the stale, dry crumbs of affection he deigns to drop on the floor when he feels you finally slipping away. You must recognize that you are enough on your own, and that his technicolor world is actually a black and white prison of his own making. You do not owe him your life just because he promised you a dream he never intended to build. The only way to win is to stop playing the game entirely and walk off the board. Stop hoping for the version of him that doesn't exist, and start protecting the version of you that does. You are the hero of your own story, not a supporting character in his tragedy. He cannot take your future if you stop giving him your present. He cannot drain your energy if you stop offering it up as a sacrifice on the altar of his ego. You are more than a mirror for his vanity. You are a person with inherent value that has nothing to do with his approval or his fake promises. I want you to take a second right now, breathe, and really think about the last 3 promises that were made to you by this person, the trips that never happened, the changes in behavior that lasted 2 days, the financial stability that is always just around the corner, but never arrives. Were those promises backed by consistent, measurable action, or were they just more beautiful, empty words designed to keep you quiet and subservient? You're significantly stronger than the lies they tell you, and you do not have to carry the heavy weight of their shadows for one more day. Keep your eyes fixed on the truth. Keep your boundaries high and unyielding, and remember that a real partner builds with you in the present moment, day by day, through honesty and shared effort. They do not just sell you a dream while they ruin your reality. You have the power to walk away and find your own light, and that journey starts with one single brave step toward the truth. You have got this. You're not alone, and I am right here with you every single step of the way. Stay vigilant, stay strong, and never let them steal your future again. Your life is worth more than a hollow promise from a hollow man. You deserve a reality that is even better than the dream they tried to sell you. Your healing begins the moment you decide that your time is too valuable to waste on a lie. Believe in yourself again, because you are the only person who can truly set you free from this cycle. If this resonates with you, or if you have felt that cold, familiar dread in your own living room, please subscribe and like this video so we can keep building this community of defense and recovery. You are worthy of a love that is real, stable, and present. Do not let another day go by as a ghost in your own life. Stand up, walk out, and reclaim the light that he tried so hard to steal. Your story is just beginning.